This Valentine's Day, get a Heart Baker pizza from Papa Murphy's. You complete us. And we mean that literally. With Take and Bake, we prepare it, you make it yours. So make us yours today. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
Jake, the NBA trade deadline's come and gone.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Like when I say, hey, what do you think of the trade deadline? What comes to mind?
I mean, I think for the Jazz, they had a decent deadline. I think that this whole, situation and getting involved in a third team and moving out some of these guys, it's going to have a big benefit to the guys who are still here because they're going to get a lot more minutes. I think the flow of the offense will be a little different. Things will change. You look at Colin Sexton now; he's going to get a bunch of more minutes and more opportunity to basically run this team. That's really what it is. I disagree that it's his team. I think this is Laurie's team, if I'm being honest. But here nor there, these guys are going to run the team now. The Mike Conley days are over in Utah, as we all are well aware. So I think from that standpoint, it's fine. I still find myself personally struggling with this Jordan Clarkson situation. I was tweeting with people last night, and everyone seems to think that Jordan Clarkson's going to do this franchise a favor, and Jordan Clarkson is going to re-sign in the summer on some team-friendly deal or is going to find a way to work it out with the Utah Jazz. And I'm just telling you guys, I wouldn't have that expectation. I wouldn't have some expectation that JC is all of a sudden just going to want to work it out. I mean, the guy is in his 30s now. It's time to go and win a championship. It's time to be a big reason why a team wins a championship. That's where you're at in your career. So to me, overall, what do I think of the trade deadline? Yeah, the trade deadline from an NBA perspective was awesome, and there's a lot that we're going to talk about today. But for the Utah Jazz, I felt like there was a little bit of positive, but I was left wanting more for sure.
Isn't it interesting that this Jordan Clarkson non-trade by the Utah Jazz seems to be the biggest story about the Utah Jazz at the trade deadline? Not the $62 to $79 million in cap space, not the fact that, you absolutely set yourself up to win a championship in the next 3 to 5 years, but that you didn't trade Jordan Clarkson. And sure, I understand it in sports. Overwhelmingly, it's usually about what you didn't do. But I feel like this trade deadline for the Utah Jazz was absolutely a smashing hit. I don't feel like this Jordan Clarkson situation is catastrophic. Now, ask me in July when Jordan Clarkson signs a multi-year extension with somebody and likely gets overpaid for value to value, I could have a different opinion then. But today, I don't know that trading Jordan Clarkson was any kind of catastrophic decision. Sure, would you have liked to add another first-round pick? Absolutely. Is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. I don't think this is a situation where you should be really upset about it, or I think what you need to, as a Jazz fan, hang on to here is you did really well at the deadline. Yeah. You are now positioned with Danny Ainge at the helm to go out and get any single player you want to target and trade. You can likely make that deal happen. That's the reality of the situation. You have a really good remaining 4 guys, in my opinion, that likely, and when I say 4, really it's 3 that'll take you into the future. Maybe Jordan Clarkson. Who knows? Maybe he's part of that recipe. But you have a good group of guys. You have a lot of assets, Jake. I don't know how any Jazz fan can look at the NBA trade deadline for the Utah Jazz and think anything other than a home run.
Yeah, and I think that the cap space you mentioned there is obviously a huge success, and we talked all about that yesterday. We had major disagreements in the comment section about whether the cap space actually meant that much or not, or how to feel about it or whatever. And I'm still on the positivity train with the cap space. I think from a financial operating perspective, you're very healthy now, and I think that's what ultimately is really important, and I think it's a big win for the Jazz at the deadline. But it just worries me a little bit. I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm not saying that this is some huge deal, but what I am saying is that Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Jazz, is emotional about Jordan Clarkson. That much is very clear.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, I think it's a good thing to a certain extent, but I think it can be a bad thing if you continue to hold on to guys that you shouldn't hold on to. This is the conversation we had about Mike Conley when they extended him. This is the conversation we had about Dennis Lindsey and Rudy Gobert. We've seen this before. And so to me, it's I'm not sitting here saying Ryan Smith is doing a bad job or somehow he's a bad owner. I'm not saying that at all. I think he's done a pretty good job. But I just think dragging your feet on moving on from guys like Jordan Clarkson when you've got half the league reaching out to you about the guy just seems like a mistake. If you only had like 3 or 4 teams offering you value for JC, then I can be like, okay, yeah, I mean, you had 3 or 4 teams, but it's not like it's that big a deal. You had like 12 teams reaching out, dude.
Yeah, and I don't mind that Ryan Smith has emotions about his players. I do mind that they didn't trade Jordan Clarkson. And I know it's one of these more controversial things, but I think you can't get tied up in the negatives around this team because there are so few. I think what you have to look at is the positives around this Utah Jazz team. And again, I would point to the Eastern Conference. I look at Toronto, and I have no idea because you didn't get better, you didn't get worse. You're the Chicago Bulls who didn't do anything. You're the Cleveland Cavaliers who didn't do anything. That's a little surprising. And if you are the Knicks didn't do a single thing. It's surprising because you're at a position where now I think in this league, and I don't know what you guys think about this, but I think in this league, if you're standing still, you're making a mistake. There's something wrong because you're not standing still. You're sliding back because the entire Western Conference got by you yesterday. Facts. If you are the Boston Celtics and you watched the team that came into your building and win a championship, really, I think make a couple of moves that you could, describe as tweaks. The James Wiseman deal is a very good deal for them. Getting GP2 back in the fold in San Francisco is a very good deal for the Golden State Warriors. Like, they got a little bit better yesterday. I think you look at the LA Lakers. The Lakers got better. There's no way to argue other than to say they got better. Did you see what Austin Reeves did to Giannis last night? This team now with Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt and a healthy Austin Reeves and LeBron sits out last night and they still take Milwaukee to the limit last night.
I'm for real.
Like, this team in the Lakers, they're better. Phoenix is unequivocally better. I don't know if you are New York, Brooklyn, I think, put themselves in a situation to compete sooner than later.
Yeah.
Now, Cam Thomas has to learn how to do post-game interviews. He made a huge mistake, which you can find on Jake's Twitter. But Brooklyn got unequivocally better at this deadline. Spencer Dinwiddie was awesome last night. I just think that if you didn't make a move, especially in the Eastern Conference, and I'm looking at you, Chicago, it is so hard to be a Bulls fan.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
My groin hurts on a day-in, day-out basis being a Bulls fan.
Yeah.
Like, being a Bulls fan is problematic.
Yes.
Because they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it continues a trend, and I think that, if you're a Jazz fan looking around the league, like, you understand that the West had a big-time trade deadline. And that's almost okay. I mean, it's almost I hesitate to say it's inconsequential what the West did yesterday as far as the Utah Jazz are concerned, but it's not as though you were trying to win a championship this year and all of a sudden Phoenix came in and stole your thunder. Like, that's not where the Utah Jazz are at. And I really feel like the Utah Jazz are uniquely positioned right now in the Western Conference to time up when these guys start aging out of the league with their rise to NBA championship aspirations. Because, again, I'll keep saying this, like, enjoy LeBron while he's here. Enjoy Steph while he's here. Enjoy Kevin Durant while he's here. By the way, anybody notice that Kevin Durant's going back to 35 for his time in Phoenix? Love that, dude. And I know it's a little thing. I know it's only a jersey number, but I love that he's going back to sort of his roots as a player. I never was a big fan of number 7. I really like 35. So to me, it's like, I just think there's a lot to be excited about in the league. And as Jazz fans, I hope that you're not still, or maybe not at all, on this sort of negative vibe based on what you see on Twitter. Because Twitter is very negative about this move, or about the moves that the Jazz made or whatever. But I don't think there's a big time reason to be negative. I think that the trades you made and the moves you made are just putting you in a position to go ring chasing 2 seasons from now. That's all it is. And if I said to you, hey, yeah, you're going to ship out Vando and Beasley, or excuse me, Threesley, so you can ring chase in 2 seasons, I think you would be okay with that. So I think the deadline was fine. Honestly, I think it was fine.
I do. I think it was fine. I think one of the more interesting stories coming out of Phoenix on the Kevin Durant trade is that the guy who actually made that possible is DeAndre Ayton. And it's interesting. I was talking to an NBA source last night who said the only way that trade gets done is if DeAndre Ayton, is a different guy than he was the last 2 years. And by all accounts, DeAndre Ayton's new attitude and his understanding of his impact on that club absolutely made the Kevin Durant trade possible, because we've heard so much about, hey, they want to move on. They want to move on. As soon as, the new owner comes in, they're going to move on. And yet they kept DeAndre Ayton and they added Kevin Durant. And now we know it's because DeAndre Ayton's had this renewed focus, this renewed professionalism. And I think you've seen that. He's never going to be better than serviceable on defense, that, in my opinion. I just don't think DeAndre Ayton's an elite defender. He's an elite offender. On the offensive end, DeAndre Ayton is arguably the most effective offensive player at the center position. It's him or Joel Embiid, in my opinion. And I think when you look at what DeAndre Ayton brings to the yard, he can play at all 3 levels. You wish he had the mean, fierce intensity that Joel Embiid had.
Let's settle this right now.
It really still has now. But, Jake, I think if DeAndre Ayton's your center offensively, you're going to be just fine, because I do think he is a different player this year.
Well, yeah, and I think for DeAndre Ayton, like having a guy like Kevin Durant on the wing for you, I think changes everything. I think that Kevin's going to space the floor for this team. And I think that that's sort of an underrated thing that hasn't been talked about a lot. Like, I love Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Like, great players, awesome role players for what they do. But the defense doesn't have to play tight to those guys on the perimeter. You just don't. You can go and close out Cam Johnson. Like, that's how you would play defense. You would sag when the ball is on the other side of the floor, and then when it comes to the strong side, you're going to go and close out on him. That's how you're playing defense against him. But against a guy like Kevin Durant, the defense is oftentimes, I don't have to tell you guys this, you've seen it, they double him constantly. And you're telling me that there aren't going to be opportunities for Kevin Durant to skip past the ball over to Book in the corner, or find a way to swing the ball, and then the defense loses Ayton on the backside. Like, there are so many opportunities that this team has now, simply because Kevin Durant is a threat. And so to me, it's like there's no excuse not to win a championship. Like, and I'm being serious. Like, you have every piece you need now to go out and beat the best teams in the league. And like I said yesterday, and I firmly believe this, I don't think this team will struggle to put it together on the floor the way the Nets struggled to put it together on the floor, or some of these other squads have.
Well, I just think you have more amenable players. I think if you look at, there's no doubt that the Suns are the winner at the deadline, in my opinion. Suns or Lakers, one of the two. I look at what you get with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and that group. Like, TJ Warden shouldn't go unrecognized in that deal, by the way.
And he will.
He probably will, but TJ Warren's going to be in position. He's going to have the ball in his hands with a chance to really impact their season. So he should not go unrecognized. But I think you have a lot of guys there, whether it's Damian Lee or whoever you want to point to. You have a lot of guys there who know how to play basketball. And that's the thing. When you can play individual ball, that's great. But you need a team game to win an NBA championship, and I think that's what the Suns are. All of our NBA and Utah Jazz talk on the Monty Show, presented by Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure you get to the Quick Quack. I know you went yesterday.
Yes,
you got
amazing.
the Subi lit.
Yes, finally.
Now, can we just talk about your non-cleaning Subaru habits?
Okay, what do you mean,
Because
dude?
as a WRX STI douche,
right?
I would think that you would value the new straight pipe catless system that was installed on the car many years ago now.
Right.
But your car has, how many car washes have you had this winter?
One. Yesterday.
I meant the entire winter.
Yeah, one.
With all the snow, record-breaking snow in November, December, January. I mean, like the entire season, how many car washes have you had?
One.
So how bad was the car?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad.
How bad was it? There was a layer of whatever awesomeness caked on the $8 gazillion exhaust system you put on that car.
Not too familiar with that.
Like the pipes at the back of your car.
I'm unfamiliar with it.
Because you had gotten piped.
Right. Right.
You know, there was a layer of death on those pipes.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, you go through Quick Quack and the car gets washed. Ask for a muddy duck, rolled up. You guys know the drill. You roll up. You know, it's why we tell you every day. You roll up. They've got a button-down shirt on, either a tie or a bow tie. They're really friendly. Hey, here's your dashboard wipe. But like, you're in a great place. You drive through. Like, it's perfect. Like, what else is there to say?
And the car looks amazing.
Yeah.
Tanner says that's one more car wash than I've had this winter. Okay.
Yeah, but you can't take a train through a car wash.
Well, no,
dude.
he drives a 62 Plymouth.
Oh.
So, you know.
Is that thing all-wheel drive?
I have no idea what he drives. I'm going to guess
this is inaccurate.
I'm going to guess Tanner Plummer is a Saturn driver or does
Saturn.
not drive at all. Jared Jensen kicks us off this morning with a Craven Moorhead bomb.
Bro, well, is this the Friday vibe? Are we going to drop all of our asinine names that we sign checks with? Is that how we want to start the show?
Well, Jared also makes the salacious accusations that he saw you doing donuts
What?
at the Maverick Center parking lot.
What? That is hurtful. I would never do that.
You thought that he wasn't doing donuts.
I would never.
Mainly because I never let him drive. Because we all know that when Jake drives, and again, this is just my humble opinion,
Right.
bad things happen to the atmosphere. There's Jake infecting Zion National Park.
Just to set the record straight, my car is not catless, by the way.
I'm sorry, what?
It's not catless.
Anyway, the point is, Jake went to Quick Quack Car Wash. Do you have a name for your car? Is it
No.
Captain Douche Rocket?
No.
He took Captain Douche Rocket to the Quick Quack Car Wash yesterday. It looks great. I will say you have exquisite taste in wheels and tires.
Uh-huh.
They look great. I will say the shopping cart-like wing that is on the trunk lid.
That guy's definitely a dude.
I mean, that it's got a shine on it now. I was rolling my handlebar mustache in it
You're a
yesterday, and it was amazing.
Get a fast pass for Douche Mountain, because you're a douche.
Do you have to specifically wash the douche shelf differently on that car?
That depends the kind of mood you're in. I mean, look, I'll admit it. I don't wash the car on a weekly basis in the winter. I get my guy. I got a detail guy, comes out. Now, I haven't had him out in probably 2 months or so, and just because it's winter. But in the summer, that car gets detailed once a month, every month, bro, and it stays nice and crispy clean,
Arling, let's see. NY Monty fan says the best part of that video is someone filmed it for him.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Arlington Bears says, come on, man. My car gets washed 2-3 times a week.
Yeah,
Hello.
we get it.
I drive German.
Chris, are you driving an F-150 too?
The difference is, Jake, I drive German. Listen, if I don't know what Chris drives, but if he drives American, that's fine. You drive douche. So I get it. You don't,
When I get my Audi.
See what I did there?
When I get my Audi, and I will get my Audi, that car is going to be incredibly loud on purpose.
Capazzo says that that's not Zion National Park. Sir?
Technically, you're right, but it's next door.
Where is that?
It's Bryce Canyon. He's exactly right.
Oh, my God. I thought you... God.
What?
You told me that was at Zion.
Well, because it's Zion, but it's right next.
It's not Zion. That's not the same thing.
It's next door, dude. You guys are playing semantics now. Come on.
You guys, do you see what?
You guys are playing semantics.
It's not semantics.
For Buddy who lives in Oregon, that's Zion National Park. Okay.
It's not.
Can you do something?
It's Bryce. It's not Zion.
Okay.
Oh my God. All right, let's get your comments in here as we talk NBA trade deadline. Let's see. Johnny Jalcala says at least Jake isn't fanning the groin. Okay.
I'm not really sure what what that has to do with anything. But,
Let's see. Tanner says, Jake, you lied to your father. Oh, the horror.
I know.
Good morning, Giggity. Good to see you. Am I Monty fan? So it's Bryce Canyon. Then it's all okay. No worries.
No
Light
worries,
it up,
man.
Jake.
Let's just burn
Light
the
it
thing
up,
to the
man.
ground, right?
Let's
Like,
go.
you know, like,
Let's
come
go.
on, dude.
The catless capital of the world,
Yeah.
Bryce Canyon.
You know, like, come on.
I'm gonna get medieval on your ass.
That does not make it better. Tanner also says, by the way, in all seriousness, I drive a 2002 Toyota Camry. I am not surprised.
Yeah.
I am not surprised. MY Monty fan says, I'll have the duck douche, please. Exactly. Hey, hey, Jake, here's your dashboard wipe. How can we help you today? Yeah, I'd like the douche duck, please.
So I said, yeah.
Tanner says, Jake, you were doing donuts. You're the reason our climate is in crisis. He
I
ain't
don't know what
wrong.
you're talking about, bro.
He ain't wrong. Tyler says, sounds like tin cans rattling around.
Right.
I will say,
Right.
even though it is a douche rocket,
Right.
right? It's not different than Jeff Bezos' blue penis.
Right.
But your STI is arguably one of the nicest STIs in the state. Like it's
Yeah, I think
really,
it's really
nice.
nice. I mean, it's clean. Like it's not.
Upgraded suspension, upgraded pipe. I piped it.
Yeah.
You know, as a dude, I love getting
I
piped.
bought the car and it just was silent. Like you couldn't. There just wasn't any life to it. So I chopped the mufflers off, and that was it.
Jake had lived in Utah for a month.
Right.
Pulls up in front of my house, comes inside. We do the podcast, goes upstairs. You know. Mm-hmm. And when was this? 2 years ago now?
2 years ago. Yeah.
Goes upstairs, walks out to his car, and this old man comes walking out. Hey, excuse me, sonny.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir. And like gets into Jake about how loud his car is. And that pulling up to the crib at 4 a.m. disturbs his sleep and a little pee comes out because it's so loud.
Well.
How did you handle that situation? An old man across the street from us was so mad at you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I quite literally just said, all right, I'll work on that. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
What's up, Teddy Wayman? By the way, Wayman Brothers Construction back at the crib yesterday. They are going to have to redo my tile floor, apparently, in my shower. Not redo it. There is going to be some... Teddy Wayman's going to have to drop, like, some beard hair on it and make it amazing.
What's up, big bro?
So...
Yeah, do your thing, Teddy.
You know.
Yeah, can you just do your thing, please?
Tanner says, oh, great, here we go. More we told you so talk.
Can you do something for me?
We did tell you so. Wait till you see.
This one is more egregious, though.
Wait till you see.
This is next level.
Today's version of we told you so...
Yeah,
is
dude. I mean, come on.
I mean, it is next level. It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's just irrefutable.
Yeah.
We told you so isms.
Anyway.
We are at 6:26 talking about the NBA and the NBA trade deadline. Let's get your comments in here. Eric and Raleigh says Gary Payton 2 back with the Warriors is hands down the best move of the trade deadline. I don't even disagree with that. You might obviously you're being sarcastic. What he meant chemistry-wise and spirit-wise to the Golden State Warriors, I think it's a really good pickup for them. Lopes fan Gabe, good morning. Good to see you. Daniel Westover says, since we're letting the young guys run, might as well bring up Juzang, who's been playing well. I agree.
Yeah.
Frank Jackson and Johnny Juzang should be in the NBA.
And again, if you're not in the membership Instagram group, we had a long conversation about it yesterday, dude, like talking about young guys and talking about the deadline. We were also, I think it was McKinley Cutler maybe, or I can't remember who it was that asked, maybe Troy Cushing, about, just how much draft capital the Jazz have now after the deadline. And we were talking about how they could use it. So, if you're not a member, you should definitely check it out because we had some pretty in-depth conversations.
Yep. Brent Terry says the Jazz blew it. There's absolutely no reason to keep Clarkson. Something is better than nothing, but at least we have a few months of Rudy Gay. I wonder, is Rudy Gay a buyout candidate? There has been no Rudy Gay news, and I can tell you, sources around the NBA yesterday told me that Kelly Olynyk just did not have value because he is just unable to move defensively. He has become a defensive liability, and I think those of us that watch pretty much every bounce of Jazz basketball, clearly we all agree with that.
100%.
I'm surprised he had no value around the league, and I think once you saw Plumlee get dealt to the Clippers, you knew that Kelly Olynyk was going to stay with the Jazz, because I really think the Clippers were his best and only option.
Yeah.
And I feel like once they made that deal was done. But Rudy Gay, I just think, has played so poorly for the Jazz. And it's not defense. It's not offense.
Right.
It's his inability to put the ball in the hole. And it's his pouting that I've heard about. That's what I've heard about. His inability to play inside the three-point line is shocking, because that had defined Rudy Gay over the last 5 years. His ability to shoot, his ability to play in the mid-range, but he just can't finish right now. And I don't know if it's mental. He is making the moves. He has the ability, and he's just not.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you keep him around for mentoring. You know, my personal opinion is I don't see any value in buying him out. I think that I would try to put him into a trade in the summer. I don't know. I'm not surprised that he wasn't moved.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the trouble is with these guys, like, you're right. They don't have, I mean, it's not like other teams are like, oh my God, I need Rudy Gay on my roster. That's just not where guys like Rudy Gay are at. It's not where, like, as you were just saying, Kelly Olynyk's at in his career. And I think that, there are just guys that sit on rosters and make a paycheck. I mean, that happens all the time in the league. And I'm not going to, I don't personally believe that Rudy Gay has some wealth of knowledge to provide to young guys. I think he can help a little bit here and there. I think, certain situations, hey guys, I've been here before, this is what we should do or whatever, like that type of thing. But like, he's not going to do what Mike Conley did for Colin Sexton. He's not going to do what, Mike Conley did for other guys on this roster. And that's okay. That shouldn't be taken as some, knock on Rudy Gay. But the reality of the situation is that, yeah, he is older and he is limited. And I personally believe that Rudy Gay could be on a team where he plays 10 minutes a night and he knocks down 3 corner threes. That would be, if he was on my team, that would be my mission to Rudy Gay. Hey, get open in the corner. Whatever, find a way. Get open in the corner and knock that 3 down. And then all I need you to do is be a guy that I don't have to talk about in film study the next day on defense. That's it. I'm not even asking you to shut someone down. I'm not asking you to do anything special. I'm asking you not to be a topic of conversation on the defensive tape. That's what I'm asking you to do. Just be serviceable. Be good enough. That's it. And if you can do that, you'll be able to play in the league for a while. And I think that Rudy Gay is not someone that is going to be traded head up to another team on his own. I don't think. Right. I think if you were going to trade him, you'd package him. But again, that's just me. I'm not Danny Ainge. So yeah, to me, I think the Jazz have some of these guys, but I think I don't agree that the deadline. What did the commenter say? The deadline was like disappointing or whatever.
It was a mistake to keep Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah,
the Jazz blew it.
Okay.
The Jazz blew it.
So I agree and disagree. I agree it's a mistake to keep him. Personally, like, my opinion is that was a big mistake. I think that he's going to leave. He's going to get paid.
But his big mistake, I don't know that I would say big. You have 15 picks.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The 15 picks only go so far in terms of, like, just because you have 15 picks doesn't mean keeping Jordan Clarkson is okay. Like, they're
16 picks is better than 15 picks.
Yeah, and I think that my point is that what's the quality and the quantity of picks you have doesn't make it okay to allow Jordan to walk for nothing. That's my point.
No, but I think if you're Ryan Smith, that makes you feel better about that. I don't see, and this is my fear. Right now, it's not a disaster. It's not terrible. What's going to happen in the summer? Because, again, don't forget, they have player options on this salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Clarkson's the most important one. But, again, Rudy Gay is a player option.
And Rudy Gay is a guy who's definitely going to pick up that option.
$6.8 million if memory serves. If Jordan Clarkson walks away with and you get nothing, okay, I get it. If he re-signs here for 3 years and $66 million, that's a disaster. If you give him a 4th-year player option,
dude,
that's a disaster. That's what worries me. The trade him, not trade him thing is what it is. You have 15 picks, it makes you feel a little better about that. You re-sign Jordan Clarkson to that kind of deal to begin his 31-year-old season, dude. That's a mistake.
Dude, Jazz fans can see the writing on the wall. Jazz fans aren't stupid. For how negative Jazz Nation is, you guys aren't stupid. I know that. You guys are really smart. And you can see the all jokes aside, the yellow brick road being laid out in front of you or being laid out in front of Jordan Clarkson. Like, you can see how this is going to play out. And I think Jazz Nation, Jazz fans, the people who listen to this show every day, we got a bunch of new people yesterday, and a lot of them are saying, like, I don't see the point. That's my thing. Like, it's not even that I think it's dumb or stupid. I just don't understand the point.
Just why?
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 Like, what is the point of going through this? Like, if you want to say, okay, we like Rudy Gay, we're going to keep him for X, Y, and Z reasons.
Like,
okay.
you could have said that if they had not traded Mike Conley.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have been like, okay, but Rudy Gay, he's not Mike Conley.
With all due respect.
And the funny thing is, now we're hearing that D'Angelo Russell, did you guys hear this side of the trade? D'Angelo Russell refused to pass the ball to Rudy Gobert. Refused to pass the ball to Rudy Gobert. And Rudy Gobert is telling people, I'm really excited that Mike's back. I trust him, and I know I'll get the ball from Mike Conley. So already, 6 months into a deal, that you're going to pay him $40, $50 million a year, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Your point guard didn't want to throw him the ball. That's crazy,
What
dude.
do you guys make of all these guys talking about their old teams after the trade's done? Like, you guys all saw, we didn't really talk about it too much on the show, but you guys all saw, I'm sure, what Kyrie said about Brooklyn and getting out of there, and he felt disrespected and unappreciated and all that good stuff. Like, what do you make of all these guys commenting? Because to me, part of it, like D'Lo saying he won't pass the ball, okay, that's one thing. That's not, that's more him and Rudy Gobert, not so much, the T-Wolves as an organization. But Kyrie Irving straight up went after the Nets.
Yes, he did.
And to me, I look at this and I say, okay, why wouldn't you just allow that to pass? Why wouldn't you just say, yeah, I'm focused on the Mavs and the future and what I got to do here? Like, I'm not focused on the past, Like, I'll be interested to see what Kevin Durant says in his first media availability.
I think, and look, this is just my opinion, Kyrie Irving's a punk. I think he's a petty punk. And he doesn't take accountability for anything he's done. Which is why I think I've been pretty consistent. I would never have him on my team.
Uh-huh.
And he's an anti-Semite. Kevin Durant's a guy who owns his action and things. Like, I was told yesterday by an NBA source that LeBron James owned the Russell Westbrook mistake. That was his fault. He chose, but I would, it's interesting, not to get totally off the subject. One of the better NBA guys that I talked to, who's usually never wrong, said something to me yesterday that kind of surprised me. LeBron James, his reasoning for taking Russell Westbrook over DeMar DeRozan was because stylistically, he didn't feel like DeMar DeRozan fits in with his game. And I think he's 100% right. What is DeMar DeRozan as a player? He is a guy that wants to get to the free throw line extended, and he wants to roll and shoot a fadeaway jumper.
Uh-huh.
Does that sound like anybody you know? Well, it sounds like LeBron James to me. And DeMar DeRozan is not a three-point shooter in any way, shape, or form. DeMar DeRozan is a guy who wants to play free throw line down. That's LeBron James at this point in his career. I agree with that 100%. And until yesterday, I hadn't really thought about that. I was the guy who was like, you're an idiot for not taking D-Row. But now that you hear that, and you kind of walk through that with Braun, you're like, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Yeah. I don't think he and D-Row would be good on the floor together.
Yeah, I mean, I think X's and O's, it's challenging to have them on the floor together. But at the same time, I also think we can't discount how excited DeMar DeRozan would be for the opportunity to play with LeBron and what that would look like as far as D-Row adjusting his game. I mean, yeah, I agree. DeMar DeRozan is not a three-point shooter
at all.
At all. I mean, that's just not part of his game. But I also, like, you can't tell me that like, you know, if Bron got Paul George on his team, that those two wouldn't figure it out. Or if somehow, some way, you know, Durant and LeBron got on the same team, that these guys won't figure it out. I just think that my whole thing with Westbrook, choosing Westbrook over D-Row, and I've felt this way since it happened. Like, I always felt like Russell Westbrook was a firecracker personality that's kind of up and down, that you couldn't really rely on. I mean, that's what he had been for how long? I mean, we had seen that in Washington. You saw it in Houston. And it felt like he had left his best days in OKC. And so my thing with Westbrook and Bron pairing up was like, dude, like, I get it. Like, yeah, sure, DeMar maybe not the best fit, but he's a pretty even keel guy. And by the way, if the play breaks down and the ball's in DeMar's hands, I think you feel pretty good about your chances of that ball finding the cup.
Well, I think at one point you also felt pretty good if that was Russell Westbrook, right? I mean, not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, not right now and not the last year and a half.
But he came from Washington, or he came from Houston?
Washington,
right?
Washington.
So, yeah, I don't know, man.
I thought it was an interesting, stylistically, Russ should have been a better fit than DeMar DeRozan. Thinking about it that way, Russ should have been a better fit. He wasn't. And I don't think... where did his career end? Probably the second year in Houston, right? How many years was he in Houston?
He was in Houston for one and Washington for one.
I think it is that maybe it's the first year in Washington.
Yeah.
Because that's the last time I remember him being just elite, like just unbelievably elite. Since he left Houston, I'll go that far. Since Russ left Houston, he hasn't been the same player.
His best 2-point shooting percentage of his career was that year in Houston at 51%.
I think that's it right there. Though it's the minute he left Houston, Russ hasn't been the same player.
And what's really funny is the Washington year, 2020, 2021, he drops off to 47.5% from two. He picks up in LA his first year, 21-22, to 48.5%. And this year he's just tanked to 46.7%. So to me, it's just like, I don't know. And the other thing that's really funny, and I know we're kind of in the weeds on Russ here, but what's really funny is if you look at other parts of his game as a guard, the Washington year, for everything that he wasn't shooting the ball, my God, was he assisting. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was averaging 11.5 assists a game.
This is a guy that at one point in Oklahoma City averaged a triple-double for a season.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, my point is, so I don't think now, if you look back on it, the decision to take Russ over D-Row was not the end of the world for LeBron. If we're just being...
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was a dumpster fire. But, man, have you not made that right? Because they're probably going to start Malik Beasley.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I would think, right? The Lakers are going to start Malik Beasley.
Yep.
But with Austin Reeves, Vando, that group of guys coming off the bench, the Thomas Bryant trade for the Lakers.
Very interesting trade, dude.
Thomas Bryant asked to be traded. Everybody was shocked yesterday by that. Thomas Bryant asked to be traded. Because when AD came back, and if you don't follow the Lakers, I do. I watch a lot of Laker basketball, just being honest with y'all. Thomas Bryant has been one of the better centers in the Western Conference.
Right.
And he's been better than Cat and Rudy in Minnesota. Like he's had a really good year. AD comes back and his playing time vanishes.
Yeah.
And so he said, hey, look, I know I'm not going to get much time behind AD. Would you guys please trade me? They traded him to Denver, and I think it was absolutely the right thing to do. And I think it is fascinating how well he has played, and I think he might be the big that they have needed, the rotational big man. Thomas Bryant, who, by the way, is going to be a free agent. I think Thomas Bryant might be the rotational big that Denver's been looking for.
Yeah.
And because it's not JaMychal Green. They don't need a guy that does that.
Thomas Bryant versus Rui Hachimura is what that matchup would be.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers got way better.
I mean, I like this starting lineup by the Lakers. I got to be honest. Like D'Lo, Malik Beasley, LeBron,
They're good.
Hachimura, and Davis.
They are good.
I think there's balance in that lineup. Now, I'm not, I'm always the guy that says, hey, you got to put it together. I mean, you got to get out on the floor, and you got to figure out how that's all going to work together.
Yes.
But one thing I know for a fact is that the meat of this lineup has already been playing together. The Hachimura, James, Davis combo knows how to play together. I know Malik Beasley. Anybody who's ever played pickup basketball knows this. If you're a 3-and-D guy, your life is really easy on this team. All you got to do is space the floor, be in the proper spot, which is really easy to identify if you're Malik Beasley, and then make your shot.
But what does Malik Beasley do? And I know I said this yesterday, sorry to be redundant.
Yeah.
He eliminates the Dennis Schroeder problem.
Yeah.
He's the guy, because all they're going to ask him to do is run down to the corner, and depending on where the ball goes and where AD goes, you'll run to the opposite corner. So run the baseline, get back on D, run down to the corner, run the baseline, shoot the three, get back. That's as simple as they make it for a guy like a Dennis Schroeder. That's now going to be Malik Beasley in his 37 to 40% three-point shooting.
Yep.
And I also look at what Vanderbilt does. Vando is a guy now that they can plug. If they put Rui and Vando on the floor together with AD and LeBron, you're not going to score on them. It's going to be because their ability, and they're really the hole in the Lakers defense has been their ability to collapse, but also to be able to get back to the line.
Yeah.
Now they have the ability to collapse, and because of the length of Vando and Rui, they can get back out to the three-point line. So I just think they've become a much more difficult team to deal with. I think they're a playoff team for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see. The thing that I'm more interested in is what is Kyrie's chemistry with Luka going to be like? Because what did we see in the debut game for Kyrie the other night? Dominant performance, unbelievable without Luka.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get those same looks with Luka on the floor.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't. And I'm telling you now, Kyrie, you are not changing the stripes to spots on that Tiger, bro.
No.
You are not doing. He is that. You know who that guy is.
I'm taking Luka over Kyrie, just so we're clear.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, there's no conversation.
Don't forget. Kyrie Irving is supposed to be on his best behavior because he's going to be a free agent. He's in a prove-it year.
Right.
And somebody will pay him. He's got to have a huge playoff run here because Luka's not going to be the scapegoat. Luka's putting up some unbelievable offensive numbers. If they don't go deep in the playoffs, Kyrie Irving will be the reason why. Whether he is or not, he is.
Yeah.
He will be the scapegoat. He will be the reason why. He will be the problem.
Yeah.
You mark my words on that. And, hey, maybe this means that they don't have to rush, Luka back. Maybe him and his mom can cuddle a little longer. That's totally fine. And if he takes his time and stuff, hey, you got Kai there now. Like Kyrie can carry a team offensively. In fact, that's probably his highest best use.
Yep.
All right, cool. But I'm telling you, Luka's going to come back, and they're going to have to figure out how not to hate each other.
My name is Luka.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have this problem in Kevin Durant in Phoenix.
No.
You don't have this problem with any of those dudes because they're all affable dudes in LA now.
Issue the whole time. Kyrie's always been the guy that comes onto a team and wants to challenge the alpha and wants to be the guy. Like,
yeah.
I've never understood in life why dudes can't just be like, yeah, who cares publicly if they think it's Luka's team? If I'm the one making the shots, who cares?
Good morning, Kenai Johnson. Top of the morning, bloke. He says, I'm happy with the trades, 15 first-rounders and almost $60 million in cap space. And I'm telling you, if the moves play out, and if a guy like Rudy Gay or we'll see what happens with these player options, they're going to have upwards of mid-60s, low 70s in cap space. Just a matter of who opts in, who opts out, who do they sign, and for how much. But they're going to have a lot of bread. Kenai, good to see you, dude. San Diego State. Glenn, how the heck are you? Boy, Glenn, you don't want to go anywhere in about 20 minutes. San Diego State. Dude.
We got some stuff to talk about.
I'm saying. Edgar Garcia, how the heck are you, man? Where you been? Kurt Myers, hello. Tim Bruckmiller, hello. Gage Carter, who actually apologized yesterday.
Yeah, Gage, are you back in a better place now? I mean,
where's the blood pressure this morning?
Yeah.
Are we on the high side still? Like, how we feeling today?
That's HIPAA.
Got to go sell some Kias, make some bread.
Yeah.
You'll feel better.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just get the job
Gage
done,
Carter
bro.
yesterday, who's a member of the program. So he's in the Monty Show Instagram group.
Yeah.
He's like, dudes, I want to apologize. I was a little turned up. Gage, that's what makes you amazing. Ritson, what's up, dude? Matt Ritson, good to see you as well. Gage Carter says, LOL, definitely so. Byron Pineda says, hello. Hello, Byron Pineda.
Hello.
Hello. Big Dog O-Town says, guarantee you Kevin Durant has Kyrie's back like the true black community did not sell out on ESPN and FS1. Y'all will see Katie stand with Kyrie. Stephen A. Smith kick rocks.
Uh-huh.
I'm not standing with Kyrie. And I actually don't think this is a skin color issue.
No.
I think Kyrie's an anti-Semite, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Kyrie Irving's a terrible teammate. And I think that you're a fool if you give this guy $30-40 million a year.
Yeah.
Because he's going to play, how many games he play here? 50 games maybe? They play, was it 16 games? Kyrie, Harden, and Katie played 16 games together total for Brooklyn.
Yeah, dude.
I said
it's ugly,
16.
dude. It's bad.
Oh, my God.
Sexist me.
Capazzo, who outed Jake as a liar, said, I wonder if Luca is cuddling with Zachy Poo's mom.
Well,
See, the thing is, it's not necessarily Zachy Poo's mom. It's her friends. Right? Because she's got a conglomerate of milfification to the proportions of, my God. Teddy Wayman is just trolling the streets around Lisa Wilson's house, waiting for her to have like a cupcake party. Why do you think Teddy shaved his beard? He's like,
yeah, I gotta clean it up here.
Cupcake season's coming. Let it grow into its awesome prepubescence.
Facial recognition.
It's Friday, bros. I'm jetting the Tahoe after
Dude,
the show.
I'm so ready.
Let's go. Dallin Sproul, what's up, my guy? Says, morning, fellas, coming to you from the gym.
Let's go.
Let's go. I don't, with the gym.
Yeah,
Jim's
what
house?
is
What's
that? What is
the
that?
gym?
Do you even lift?
Sounds vaguely familiar. Like
What
it
do you
seems
bench?
It's way the out here, you know. Let's see. Red Heart Norvis, good morning to you. He says, Monty, you would like to join the Luca and his mom cuddling? Absolutely. Because I think I could kick Luca's ass and that's me and his mom. Ken Williams, how are the cattle? Dude, what's up? Yep, like I said, the Jazz maybe gave the Lakers a chance for a title. I think they maybe
agree.
did.